Good morning. I thought I'd quickly drop on here to talk through the first move. So we're above the road now. Moved the cattle yesterday afternoon, about 4 o'clock or so, and they're actually up in the agroforestry field. You can probably see behind me there's a couple of lines of fencing through the paddock. These are hot wire fencings. They're double strand, and they're just secured with H braces at each line. There's about between 12 and 16 metre between each row, and they're based on a kind of modified keyline patterning. But the cattle were in this paddock here yesterday with the shelter belt as the road they crossed, and we've just moved them on. So I thought I'd take this chance to show you the level of impact we're talking about here. Just moved them. Here they are in their new paddock. Now you can see this ground. This whole area here was rested last year. It wasn't touched at all, after many years of quite close grazing with sheep. And there was always, in this lower part of the field, there was always issues with infiltration, and indeed there still is. Now in this area with the shelter belt, the trees have done an awful lot to alleviate that. So the difference between infiltration here and the shelter belt and out here in the grazing alleys is remarkable, this being a lot better. Tree roots are doing their thing. So the idea here was, with the change in system, we knew we were going to cattle and away from sheep. Decided to leave this fallow for a year just to let that biomass build up. And then the idea is that we're quite closely bunching these guys. These are quite small paddocks, and we're moving them just about every 12-16 hours or so at the moment. And this is a paddock that we've just left. So you can see there's a good density of dung in, urination. All the green tips are clipped, which is brilliant. But more importantly, there's a good degree of trampling here as well. So all this biomass that's trampled down in contact with the soil surface will now hopefully break down. Well, will break down. See, already we've got some fly activity, and these guys have just moved on. So yeah, this will break down quite nicely, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this greens up. With that in mind, this system is set up with mobile infrastructure. This is a mobile drinker from Kingspan, just a very light plastic model. We've got 3/4 black pipe into the back of it, and then just a very simple float valve set up on it. Now we're running the water currently from where the power is coming from as well, and it's coming through a drainage pipe beneath the road and up here. And the water pipe, this is all, none of this is fixed. This is all movable. So I'll take this drinker now, empty it out, move it into the new paddock here, and then pull the water pipe back. And that's how we'll continue our moves. It's working fine at the moment. There may be some efficiencies in the future, we'll see. There are plans actually at the end of this month. We're putting a pond in, kind of in this area up here, and after that, once that fills up, we'll have gravity fed water in these paddocks, which is great because it takes a bit of the pressure off our home borehole. So these alleyways, these are all planted up. These green fringes here, these were actually ploughed last year. And if you look on the stories, you'll see there's a highlight there, I believe, about us getting this system established. So basically did a contour map of this entire field, had a look at what kind of keyline was going to suit us best, and then modified it to meet needs of how water was managing around the site, but also access as well. So what we've done is we've got these parallel offset systems running up the site, and we've got an access lane on this side, so a free alleyway, and then another free alleyway on this side here running up the hill. And then we've defined each of the alleyways just with this very simple H-brace system. So 2 strands of hot wire, high tension wire pulled across, than the H brace itself, just with medium posts. These posts are really expensive at the moment, and they do not last in comparison to the old style. When I was a lad, they lasted a lot longer. And then they're just tensioned with this cross wire here. Now these wires, these lane boundaries, if you like, they run down on the pattern, and you see this one's got quite a pronounced dog leg in it. It's just the way the contours of the land is falling. And then over on the far side of this field, we have a single strand of hot wire that's coming up from a mains energizer that's just in this shed down here below the road. And that is carrying zap the whole way up this hill. And then as we move the cattle through this system, we just jump the electricity across from that hot wire onto these lanes, and then that energizes the intermediate paddock boundaries as well. Finally, with the paddocks defined by these kind of permanent alleyway hot wires and the boundary fence on this side, we just use these very cheap reels. They're plasticky reels, they're about a tenner each or so, just to demarc the front fence and back fence for each of the grazing paddocks. Super cheap, super light, and they do the trick. These cattle came from a farm from Reru Manair down in Sligo, but they're already trained to the hot wire, thank God. And they're quite quiet. They're used to being handled in this kind of manner. So yeah, so far so good. They love it in the trees there as well. They're just it's the first area they tend to go for when they get into a new paddock. So it's great to see cows and trees.